The year is 2018, and Kirby Battle Royale was just released for the Nintendo 3DS. As a part of Kirby's 25th anniversary, Nintendo decided to come out with a new spin-off with a playstyle that we've never seen before. Will this new experiment be a success, or will it join the leagues of Kirby spin-off failures? Let's find out. King Dedede decides to set up a tournament called Dedede's Cake Royale. Contestants are invited to the castle to compete in different events in order to win the grand prize of a giant cake. Kirby starts to travel to the castle in order to enter the tournament, and along the way he passes by Bandana D, who also wants the cake. Together, they enter the tournament and rise through the ranks in order to win that cake. King Dedede has a device called the Kirby Printer that is able to produce doppelgangers of Kirby. Kirby and Bandana D fight through the Kirby duplicates, Meta Knight, and eventually find themselves in the Platinum League. King Dedede gets increasingly frustrated at the fact that Kirby keeps winning, revealing he only created this tournament so King Dedede and Meta Knight could stop getting beaten by Kirby. The king even goes as far as piloting a giant robot called the Dedede Destroyer Z. Of course, Kirby comes out victorious and they eat that sweet, sweet cake. I gotta say, I'm liking these simple Kirby stories that we've been getting. Even though the stories are simple, this game does give a lot of character to both King Dedede and Meta Knight that we haven't seen in quite a while. It was great seeing them fully in the rival role against Kirby again. With all of that in mind, Kirby's Battle Royale story gets my rating of an A. Kirby Battle Royale consists of 10 different arena-style events that you can play. First is the Battle Arena. This game is just a traditional style battle royale where the last man or team standing is the winner. Second is Apple Scramble. This game sees you fighting the other team to collect the most apples. Poor Wispy, he just can't catch a break. The third event is Coin Clash. In this one, you compete to collect the most coins while keeping the ghost off of you for as long as possible. Fourth is Attack Riders. This is kinda similar to Coin Clash, but instead of a top-down perspective, you are on a circular style arena and you must steal the coins from your opponents. Fifth is Crazy Theater. This one sees you and your opponents competing in multiple lightning round events that can vary from hitting your opponent, to dodging attacks, to answering math questions. First to 10 wins. Sixth is Rocket Rumble. Players must compete to get as much fuel into their rocket ship as possible to be able to fly your rocket the highest when it's time for blast off. Seventh is Robo Bonkers. You and your opponents compete to do the most damage on a giant robot version of Bonkers. The one to deal the most damage is the winner. Eighth is Slam Hockey. You must hit the hockey puck into your opponents in an air hockey style game. Ninth is the Ore Express. This one is very similar to Apple Scramble, except the stage is constantly on rails, making the collection more hectic. Finally, the 10th event is Flag Ball. This game sees the player trying to throw their ball at the flag with their team's color on it. The interesting part being that you can pick up both the ball and the flags. Before any game, you are able to pick copy abilities, which are pretty standard to the Kirby series. Honestly, there isn't a bad game in the bunch. All of these games invite its own brand of hectic competitiveness that is very fun, and I can see being a great multiplayer experience. My favorite one is probably Crazy Theater, just because of how fast-paced it is, despite being the longest game of them all. My problem is that you play these 10 game events for the whole game, making the game feel very repetitive after a while. It's fun, but it ain't that fun. With all of that in mind, Kirby Battle Royale's gameplay gets my rating of a B+. I'm not gonna lie, I really don't know what I want to say for this section. The presentation of this game is just not notable at all. The stages and characters look just as they should, but there's no, I don't know, pizzazz to it. The same goes for the music. Nothing really sticks out at all. When it comes to forgettable presentations, this game rivals Kirby Squeak Squad. Everything in the game does its job for definite, but it just does that and nothing else. With that in mind, Kirby Battle Royale's presentation gets my rating of a C. To complete Kirby Battle Royale, you must first beat Dedede's Cake Royale and obtain all of the medals in the game. Using the points you get from these medals, you can buy different costumes, songs, and power-ups that you can use in future battles. This is another game that I didn't complete because pretty early on into completing the game, I realized that this just wasn't for me. Getting all of the medals is just a matter of completing a bunch of repetitive, arbitrary tasks that, from what I've seen, doesn't unlock anything when you get them all other than bragging rights. Hell, I did the one where you have to complete 10 games in a row on the hardest difficulty without losing, and it was such a snore fest and frustrating as hell. It legitimately feels like the game just ignores your inputs entirely most of the time in favor of your opponents. It barely feels fair and feels like fake difficulty rather than a legitimate challenge. I should leave a match saying, "Whew, got through that one, not finally, the game let me win." Doing this really doesn't seem worth the effort. I cannot recommend completing this game. Kirby Battle Royale is a spin-off that I can say is good. It's definitely not the most spectacular game in the world and definitely isn't a Kirby game that I plan on revisiting. It served its purpose, I beat its story, and I'm satisfied forever. Kirby Battle Royale is definitely one of those games where beating it once is enough for me. The replay value is definitely lower than most. It has a story that slaps, gameplay that's fun until it gets repetitive, presentation that does the bare minimum, and a completion requirement that's bland as hell. With all of that in mind, Kirby Battle Royale gets my overall rating of a B. Definitely not a bad game by any means, it just doesn't really do a lot.
Thank you everyone so much for watching this video, and I hope you guys enjoy the new format of the retrospectives. If you like what you see, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell. All the social media are in the description below, so check them out as well. We also got merch in the description.
Next week, we'll be looking at the next Kirby game in the lineup, Kirby Star Allies.
But if you're too impatient to wait a week, you can become a channel member and watch it right now. I'm Bottles, and I bid you, my well-esteemed guests, adieu.